Good evening and thank you for keeping the rendezvous for today's edition of the news on DBS Television. Let's open the news right away with the top stories for tonight. Fraud in the filling and sales of gas bottles in Cameroon is becoming more and more of a disturbing and an alarming issue. For this reason, Cameroonians have resorted to several ways in which they identify whether a gas bottle is well filled or not. After months of suspension due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but equally due to crisis within the Football Federation, national football competitions or local football competitions are set to resume in Cameroon this weekend, but Cameroonians keep their fingers crossed for it not to be ruined. These are the top stories we had for you tonight. Get the details when we return in a few seconds. Welcome back and thank you for staying with us for this 7 p.m. edition of the news in English language. I am Cynthia Gwemo. We open the news today, as we promised, with the issue of gas bottle filling after 2 Cameroonians were caught by forces of law and order in the process, or as they were suspected of having fraudulently filled or siphoned gas bottles in Cameroon. Our team of reporters went down to the streets of Douala today to talk to some Cameroonians and find out how they go about identifying whether a gas bottle is well or rightly filled or not. And our reporters found out that they have devised a number of ways. Discover them in the following report with Vanessa Shuyo.
Following a recent video footage circulating over the social media showing 2 young men handling domestic gas bottles in a place that looks like a warehouse, DBS Television took to the streets to interview some retailers and housewives to find out how full a bottle is. According to this gas bottle retailer, those who supply these bottles should be held responsible for siphoning the gas in it. He added, as a result, they are often harassed and attacked by housewives who fall short of gas in undue time. Asked about the measure they have put in place to avoid such a situation, the retailer said they weigh the bottles before dishing them out, though the method is not effective. To this housewife, the situation is irregular. At times, the bottles are heavy and sometimes very light. When used, it doesn't last a month. She added it is not a matter of cooking every day or heavy meals. And to this cafe owner, his bottles barely last for 7 days. Meanwhile, it wasn't the case before. He trusts bottles coming from petrol stations rather than those gotten from retailers. Captured from an elevated place, the said video attracted the attention of the elements of Brigade for Control and Repression, assisted by police who located the area to be at the Yassa neighborhood in the Douala 3 municipality. According to reports, the 2 young men were specialized in reducing the amount of gas contained in the 12-kilogram gas bottles before reselling them.
Cameroon has this week joined the international community to observe this year's edition of Mother Tongue Day. Commemorative activities in schools and other institutions were focused on multilingualism as a tool for development and integration. Ate Bonaventure talked to some Cameroonians to find out what they think about the fact that mother tongues or mother languages are taught in our various schools, and this is what he found out. Get them.
UNESCO recognizes that languages and multilingualism can advance inclusion and the Sustainable Development Goals. Promoting the local languages is one of the top priorities in Cameroon's government educational and cultural policies.
Mother tongue is important for children. My parents taught me how to speak my native language, and I'm also passing on the tradition by doing same with my children. I'm married to an Eton man, and I'm also learning to speak his mother tongue with our kids. I also teach them how to speak my own mother tongue, which is Izimi from the East.
Having the entire population speak a common tongue will be hard, That is why the educational body has included the study of local languages in school curricula to encourage unity in diversity.
Chacun a son identité, chacun a ses racines.
Multiple languages
Donc il est normal que chacun puisse parler sa langue maternelle, mais nous soyons tous unis dans une même nation.
Diversity remain united. Cultural diversity is an asset that, if well managed and valorized, it could also pose a problem if care is not taken.
Si on ne respecte pas, si on ne valorise pas notre culture.
Celebrated every February 21, the International Mother Day is a day to size up the importance of mother tongue in the enhancement of quality learning and social inclusion.
And still in culture, the Cameroonian author Ekuma Mbele-Bwele has just published a new book, or rather launched a new book, which is titled Hymnologie traditionnelle africaine en milieu chrétien, cas de Esawu Bosangi, or rather cas de Esawa Bosangi. The 108th page work, which is the author's 9th book, was launched on this February 24 evening at Salle des Fêtes d'Aqua in Douala. The book examines the practice of Christianity as a religion in the African milieu alongside the observance of African traditions and culture. Now let's listen to the author Ekuma Mbele-Bwele as he talks about the book and his objective behind the literary work. Listen.
But unfortunately, we are seeing that there is no effort to promote the reading. So I think it is important for us from today, with the book Hymnologie traditionnelle africaine en milieu chrétien, cas de Esawu Bosangi, to see how we can manage to make it grow in our churches.
Candidates for recruitment as commandos in the Rapid Intervention Battalion for the littoral and southwest regions of Cameroon have been selected in Douala today. It was in a selection exercise which took place this day, graced to tolerance, hard work and perseverance, as Mange Venasius, who covered the event, tells us in the following report.
1,501 young and energetic Cameroonians from the southwest and littoral regions vying for a place to be selected in the special recruitment of 2,200 elite commandos into the Rapid Intervention Battalion began their selection exercise as early as 2 a.m. Thursday, February 25, 2021 at the parking lot of the Japoma Omnisport Stadium in Douala. Here, candidates began with some keep fit exercises before engaging in the real test, a physical test comprising 3 stages. The first stage was a 20-kilometer race with a load of 20 kilograms, from which 150 candidates from the southwest region and 300 candidates from the littoral region were selected in order of arrival. The first candidate received his T-shirts from the hands of the governor's representative, who lauded their initiative to defend the fatherland.
We have witnessed to the recruitment in our defense forces. So I would like to say congratulations to those who have been selected and say good luck for the next steps.
A selection which candidates say is as a result of hard work.
I've been training since May 2020 to date, so I'm really grateful.
So what's your motivation to want to join the B?
To fight for our fatherland.
It did not end here. A second race, this time without any load, was carried out, and the last exercise was to sort for a spirit of teamwork as candidates carry an electric pole through a specific distance. The team, rounding up their selection exercise, will set sails for the west region, where a similar exercise will take place for those in the northwest and West regions.
Scientific researchers in Cameroon have been meeting in the town of Yaoundé for their 8th national convocation. The meeting that seeks to evaluate the activities of researchers but equally to set new perspectives was chaired by the Minister of Scientific Research and Innovation, Dr. Madeleine Chuente. Ate Bonaventure with that report.
The 8th edition of the Scientific Convocation focuses on scientific research and indigenous response to emerging and re-emerging diseases. Exchanges during the conclave that brings together researchers and policymakers include challenges of research procedures in Cameroon and projection for a more conducive research environment.
This first encounter with the scientific community is an opportunity to evaluate the level of implementation of our 2020 roadmap, a year marked by the COVID-19 pandemic.
This year's objective is to inculcate the spirit of proactiveness in researchers so that they can be able to transform obstacles into opportunities.
En perspective pour 2021, nous allons nous atteler à agréer notre politique nationale.
Cameroonian researchers benefited from government support, for example, funds for research, development and production of pharmaceutical products like hand sanitizers and masks made in Cameroon.
At the end of the scientific convocation, outstanding research projects shall be honored with national distinction.
And now we talk sports in Cameroon. The lack of local championships have been identified as the major setback to the advancement of football in Cameroon. In the following report, Mange Venasu says authorities would need to solve the conflicts which are ongoing in the governing body for football before the championships resume this weekend. Take a listen.
With the outcome of the just ended CHAN 2020 competition, when Cameroonians' interest in football was rekindled by Team Cameroon and all of a sudden dashed to the rocks, many concluded that the team could perform better if we had a local championship competition in the country. In an instruction to the Minister of Sports and Physical Education, the head of state asked that necessary dispositions should be taken so that the local championship should begin with immediate effect. An instruction which, after some delays, was finally executed. As it stands, the championship is being disputed first in a cold war going on between FECAFOOT and the Cameroon Professional Football League, the LFPC. Both parties are claiming the ability of organizing the championship as a means of ascertaining its authority over the order. While FECAFOOT has programmed the kickoff of the competition on the 27th and 28th of February 2021 for Elite 2 and Elite 1 respectively, LFPC is yet to declare their own kickoff date. Following the reaction of the Minister of Sports and Physical Education handing over sporting infrastructure and financial resources to FECAFOOT, as per the instructions of the head of state, Cameroonians are of the opinion that this does not solve the long-standing quarrel between the two institutions. Rather, the government would have settled the issue at stake before the competitions begin. This will give way for a conducive atmosphere for the good of Cameroon's football.
A 5-day internship for young and upcoming footballers in Cameroon is set to end tomorrow, Friday, 26th of February 2021. The internship, which began on Monday, February 22, is a regional training opportunity to obtain the Federal B license. Participants involve 24 aspirants from all walks of life from the Northwest region especially. They are subject to theoretical and physical tests under the supervision of the West Regional Technical Advisor. The following is an excerpt of Magloire Sow, who is the regional instructor for the Northwest region. He tells us more about the objectives of the internship.
Trying to empower young educators in the new pedagogical instruments that are put in place by the Technical Directorate under Mr. Noah, because the aim of the National Directory is to prepare young players at the base to be at the level that in future they will help our senior teams, or why not our national team. So we thought it wise that empowering the educators will give more opportunity and more possibility for the youth to acquire the necessary knowledges in the domain of football.
Technically, what was the main point of the training?
Yes, as I told you, there are new pedagogical approaches that are put in place that we want them to master. We are talking about exercise, game, and situation. Those are the main things we are trying to let them inculcate, and maybe in their various centers or their various teams to put it in practice for our young footballers to be very good footballers in the future.
That was Magloire Sow speaking there as interviewed by our West Regional correspondent Alexis Yangwa. Now we take you to news out of Cameroon, beginning with Niger, where violence has erupted following the announcement of Sunday's runoff elections, in which Mohamed Bazoum was announced to be the winner of the election. However, opposition leader Mohamed Ousmane claims that he won these elections. And in Nigeria, at least 16 people have been killed in new attacks which is suspected to be carried out by Boko Haram. In this attack, at least 9 children have died as they were playing in a football field. Let's get details of these stories with Rogea Tububa, who is our intern.
Niger's opposition leader, Mohamed Ousmane, has claimed that he won the nation's presidential elections as violence erupted a day after official results gave victory to his rival Mohamed Bazoum. According to the provisional results announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission, Bazoum picked up 55.75% of votes in Sunday's runoff and Ousmane 42.25% of votes. Violence erupted as supporters of Ousmane threw stones and police responded with tear gas. Violence during which one petrol station was attacked. Ousmane said the compilation of results in the various polling stations gave him victory of 50.3% of votes against 49.70% of the ruling candidate. Bazoum said if the opposition has doubts about the election, it should be able to have evidence to put to the Constitutional Court which certifies the result. In Nigeria, a deadly attack suspected to be carried out by Boko Haram in the northeast killed at least 16 people, including children, playing football in a field. The leader of the self-defense militia said 9 boys were killed when an explosive landed in a field where they were playing football. 4 died at the spot, but 5 more died from the serious injuries they sustained. The Borno State Governor, Babangana Zulum, visited the scores of injured people in the hospital in Maiduguri. The governor said authorities are taking measures after the explosion. An estimate of 36,000 people have been killed since the Boko Haram insurgency started in 2009.
Those stories from Niger and Nigeria bring us to the end of this edition of the newscast. I am Cynthia Ngwemo, thanking you for watching and equally inviting you to stick to DBS television until we meet again tomorrow. For now, good night.